Hey y'all, how you doing? Today I've got a bed that I need to weed so I can get my hot peppers planted. And once again, I'm trying to beat the weather, so I'm hoping to get this done before it rains. I don't know if I'll have enough time to get the bed both weeded and planted before the rain, but I guess the only way to find out is to get started. I'm in my bottom garden, and this is the bed that needs weeded, so I'm going to get to work weeding it.
You'll repeat after me, if you can. I'm an algorithmic alchemist, amalgamating alphabets, architect of anecdotes, antagonizing amulets. Animate the animate, amalgamate the adamant, accelerate adrenaline, I'm adamant like adamant. Caffeinated catalyst, catapulting calculus, casually cracking codes encoded in my callous fist. Quantum lace linguistics, got my tongue in supersonic mode. Warp speed words, weave a wizardry of phonics told. Ascribe to scripture swifter than a synapse, fires rapid, tangles of titanium thoughts tangled in traffic, traffic of tactics, track it, map it, rapid and absent, labors of language, launch a lexicon of labyrinth. Flip in a phrase with a flick of the wrist, rip in a rhythm, I'm quick with a twist. Syllables slip like a fish in a mist, fish in a fusion, a fish in abyss. I'm in it to spin it, I pivot, I pummel, I tunnel through trouble, I double the struggle, I juggle the jargon, I sharpen the garble, I carve up a marvel with marvelous marble. Linguistic gymnast, flipping phonetics, physics of syllables, fit in aesthetics, metric kinetics, I'm bending semantics, making mechanics of metrics pedantic. Sip syllables, spit them in circuits, cipher, decipher the verses, words in a whirlwind, working in worship, bursting inertia with verbals, immersive, verbally vertical, vertex aversions, verses divergent in vortex excursions, cursive incursions on cursory currents, cure the diversion with pure reemergence. Within a phrase with a flick of the wrist, rip in a rhythm, I'm quick with a twist, syllables slip like a fish in a mist. Fish in a fusion, a fish in abyss. I'm in it to spin it, I pivot, I pummel, I tunnel through trouble, I double the struggle, I juggle the jargon, I sharpen the garble, I carve up a marvel with marvelous marble. Centrifugal syllable, spiral and swivel, I riddle the rhythm with riddles that ripple will sizzle my grid, I triple like triples. Fibonacci patterns are painted in pixels, ravenous, cavernous, I ravage, rapid expansion, entrancing the average. Larynx a labyrinth, lab of a language, laugh in the lap of elaborate anguish. Tackling tachyons, tracking the times, twisting the tempo with tangles and rhymes. Cognizant, conjuring, conjugal consonants, constantly clobbering cosmic components. Wrap in a spiral, unravel the viral. Vowels and vitals are vital for cycles. Vibrating verses, I verge on reversal. Versatile virtue, I'm verbally surgical. Fast as a photon, I fracture the framework. Flip in the phrasing, I hack through the same verse. Frantically frantic, a fan of semantics, dancing through Dante dismantled.
Alright, there's what it looks like, all weeded and mulched and ready to plant. I don't think I'm going to get to planting this tonight because it's getting late and I still need to fix dinner. So hopefully I can get out here tomorrow between rain and get stuff planted in this bed. At least my peppers, at least get it started. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow. Hey y'all, I'm in my top garden today and it's actively raining. So I'm just going to give you an overview of the area I'm working on. And then I will show you in the after because I'm getting ready to weed this area so I can plant some beans. I got some sword bean seeds, and yes, this is a YouTube made me buy it type deal. I saw Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm show these beans, and then of course I had to get them. So I got that weeded, and I got the beans planted, and I got this side weeded too. I left the moss, but I weeded that area so my clematis could grow. Now I still need to weed the outsides of this area on both sides, so that'll get done later. With these little semicircle beds in the front, I planted a sunflower, a tall marigold, that is Keys Orange, that is a sunflower, Steve sunflower that I saved seeds from. That is a petunia that I grew from seed, I'm not sure of the type. And that is a jewel mix nasturtium. I kind of mirrored that over here. Alright, it's raining still. It's supposed to rain for the next 2 or 3 days. So I'm going to just pop out here whenever the rain slows down or whenever it stops in between bouts. And then try to get as much done as I can. I just really like planting in the rain, especially seeds, because If it's going to be raining for 2 or 3 days, those things get really good and watered in, and I don't have to worry about doing it myself. It's not the next day, but the day after that, because last time I recorded, the rain did not stop for the rest of that evening, and it did not stop for the whole next day. So today is the first day that it's been dry enough for me to come outside and do anything. I do still have things to plant, but I'm a little nervous about going down in the part in the field that I need to plant, because last time I was down there I saw yellow jackets, so I want to wait until there's someone here that can go down there with me, or wait until like the sun's almost down, because they're usually in for the evening. And right now it's kind of the middle of the day, so I'm going to hang out around my house and kind of just do some yard cleaning, some maintenance. I'm just going to get some things cleaned up. That way, whenever I'm dealing with my plants, I can kind of organize them better. At this point, I've got a bunch of pots I've emptied out, and I just want to kind of straighten things up, and I think it'll help my headspace to just have it done. And also, I want to move my citrus out of my greenhouse, and one of my trees I'm putting over here by my house because it's top heavy and I don't want it to topple. So if I put it here, it's protected from the wind on 3 sides. So I'm going to put it over here, and there's pots in the way, so there's that too. Alright, I guess I'll get started. These pipes will stay here because we're getting ready to use them. But these pots and that water jug, those can all be moved. And then the wheelbarrow can be moved. I've got a pot there. Now all the stuff that's in my yard here, like these plants, most of that'll stay. I've got a soil bag. Well, no, there's still soil in that, so that can stay there. But any of the stuff that's in the yard that's not just a plant waiting to be planted, I'll move. I've got this, which is full of pots, and honestly, I may sort this out. I've got this wagon here that's full of empty pots. I need to get all this sorted out so they can go into storage for the rest of the season. I've got like pots laying there, so just want to show you this real quick because I'm going to do a garden tour, but who knows if, who knows if this will be in perfect bloom at the time. That's just so beautiful. Just things are really starting to open up. Some things. Anyways, back to the task at hand. It's just a general straighten up. Some of this stuff will stay here because they're waiting to be planted.
Till in antics. Steady my breath, set the syllables simmering. Synapses snapping, the syntax is shimmering. Lyrical labyrinths laced in infinity. Letters align in a lightning delivery. Did it diminish? No limit, I'm infinite in it to win it with wit that's deliberate. Pivot the tempo, then flip it, articulate, leaving the echoes to fire and ricochet. Am I tangled in tongue ties? Nope, I untwist them, flipping the friction of frictionless systems. Whirlwinds of wordplay woven in wisdom. Signature signed in a cipher's precision. I'm slaloming syllables while I mind your beeswax. Sentence suffering, no singular setbacks. Wavelengths are warping, the wording's elastic. Packing a punch with a parlance so drastic. Twisting a theorem, I'm steering the spiral. Spitting in seconds, I sever the viral. Vexing the vectors, I flex with phonetics. Language is lattice work, not just theoretics. Insect, finite, cipher through synapse, decipher the cipher, then recycle the syntax. Architect algorithms, I audit dirty, alternate quantum mechanics, I conjure them audibly. I'm tongue like a turbine, got game like Nintendo, burning the burden, I am the crescendo. Faster than fractals, so fragile they fracture, actually accurate. My verse, big factuals, abandonedly sonic, a chronicle logic, swerving in circuits of syllabic sonnets. Triplicate trickery, tick in the thimble, time is meticulous, never not nimble. Quicksilver lexicon, verbal adrenaline, tearing through barriers, flipping the regimen. Pinpoint precision, no fiction, no filler. Foot to the floor like a J. Statham thriller. Mics in the holster, I bolted the flow. Verbal volcano, consider it blown. Mics in the holster, I folded the show. Tinfoil and Drano, consider it.
very sweaty. It's not really overly hot today because there's cloud cover. It's probably, I want to say 75, maybe 76 degrees, but it's so humid out. It's just making me sweat. Alright, I've got that little area cleaned up. I've decided I'm going to leave my little wagon with pots in it and my trash can here because I really need to go through those pots and sort them into 2 separate piles. And I'm not going to do that right now because I've got a bunch of pots I'm getting ready to empty, and it would be more convenient just to leave those where they're at for now, even though they're kind of in the way, and wait until I'm done planting or composting the rest of the stuff I have. I have these beds up here that we put cardboard down and some aged horse manure. So I want to kind of spread that out, and then I'm going to plant, I have a, let's see, a black futsu pumpkin. I think it's considered a pumpkin. Anyways, it needs to be planted. And then I have some, let's see, I have 2 honey nut squash, or no, I have 4 honey nut squash. So I'm going to plant these in these beds, but first I need to get the manure piles distributed. I am going to be planting into the ground. I'm not planting them in the manure. I will be digging down into the ground. The manure is just on there as a top dressing. It is aged, so it shouldn't hurt them, but just in case, I will be planting them in the soil, not into the manure.
You'll repeat after me, if you can. I'm an algorithmic alchemist, amalgamating alphabets, architect of anecdotes, antagonizing amulets. Animate the animate, amalgamate the adamant, accelerate adrenaline. I'm adamant like adamant, caffeinated catalyst, catapulting calculus.
In this bed we have the black futsu pumpkin or gourd, winter squash. I'll put on the screen what the correct classification is. Anyways, I put it by itself, and it can just take this over and they can spill over if they want to. I ended up with 7 of these honey nut squash. So I did 3 along this edge, 3 along this edge, and 1 in the middle. And they are supposed to be a bush variety, so hopefully they have enough room to do what they need to do. And they can spill out and kind of take over in this area as well. I do know that any time that I plant anything without a fence around it, that there's a chance it'll get eaten. In the past, we've had fairly good luck with our pumpkins and gourds not really getting bothered. And if they did get bothered, they're kind of just nibbled on, but it didn't even break the skin, so they were still usable. You know, I know I'm taking a chance. If I do see that these things are getting eaten, maybe I'll come out here and put some kind of netting just around these beds, but I would have to buy the fencing first because I don't have any more. For right now, I'm just taking that chance, but at least they're in the ground. I have these, what are they called? Breathless Blush Euphorbia. Have one there. And I set one there. And I think that that's where I'm going to plant them. So I'll go ahead and get these in the ground because they really need it too. They dry out real quick at this point.
Codes encoded in my callous fist, quantum lace linguistics, got my tongue in supersonic mode. Warp speed words weave a wizardry of phonics told. Ascribe to scripture swifter than a synapse fires rapid. Tangles of titanium thoughts tangled in traffic of tactics. Track it, map it, rapid and absent. Labors of language, launch a lexicon of labyrinth. Flip in a phrase with a flick of the wrist. Rip in a rhythm, I'm quick with a twist. Syllables slip like a fish in a mist. Fish in a...
Alright, that's in the ground there. I think that adds a lovely color and texture. Alright, now to the other one that's kind of behind that coral bell.
Fusion, a fish, an abyss, I'm in it to spin it. I pivot, I pummel, I tunnel through trouble. I double the struggle, I juggle the jargon. I sharpen the garble, I carve up a marvel with marvelous marble. Linguistic gymnast, flipping phonetics, physics of syllables, fit and aesthetics, metric.
Alright, It's in the ground right there. I know this video is kind of all over the place, but that's whenever it's rainy like it has been, you kind of just go out and fit in little jobs in when you're able to between rainstorms, and it's not like you can get a solid day in, or you're lucky to get a few hours in. And I try to go down my list of things that I feel are most important. I really wanted to get those seeds in the ground because I knew it was going to rain for a few days, and Mother Nature would just take care of making sure they stayed moist for me. And even though it's a bit dry today, it is supposed to start raining again tonight and rain for the next day or two, so we have more rain on the way, and to me that's the perfect time to plant seeds, at least in my area. I can't speak on the weather or rain conditions in anyone else's area. Just for me, I like to plant at that time, whether it's a seed or whether it's a plant, because I just feel like the plants themselves adapt better whenever the ground is moist and not dry and hard. Even though I take precautions for my ground to not be dry and hard, it can sometimes still get dry and hard. Okay, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I will see you in the next one. Bye.